We've been to this track a few times before in Saturday Night Thunder, but for the first time, Auto Club Speedway is where we begin the season. Last time we went racing, it was in Atlanta. It was a championship battle with two drivers still in contention and above the odds. Against all odds, Matthew Weeks came out with his first ever championship against two-time defending winner Jordan Kuntz. Tonight, a land of opportunity California will be as Auto Club Speedway plays host to the 2024 B season opener for Saturday Night Thunder here in the final half of the year. It's time to get loud once again with the Xfinity cars as our machines of choice, and going at speeds of over 185 miles an hour all night long. 80 laps are on the table for our first race back from summer vacation. Welcome back live on FTN. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and it's been a pleasure broadcasting this series as it's made the full pivot toward Xfinity style racing. The first season of the Grand National Series was the beginning of this year, and now we're looking to finish off strong as veterans and many rookies alike have taken to the track to finish off what we've started throughout this year. As it stands, 3 drivers have taken a time, and qualifying is on the move in the San Bernadino 160, and right now it's going to be Jackson Van Pelt to the top of the board. There's Alec Daffin in familiar color. We'll talk about a few team changes for all the veterans tonight, as it's one lap qualifying for the majority of these drivers. You can see they're already backing it down after their first and only lap in this stint. Qualifying is due to be short and sweet for the 20-plus who have registered for tonight's race. Jordan Kuntz right now going to take to the track in the number 99, and you can see Jordan for the time being looks to be pretty content with where he's sitting a few minutes before this racing gets on its way. There's Connor Asdell going to take a nasty hit down and in off pit road's exit, and the 72 going to go sliding as a result, and Connor comes right back up the track. No big worry, of course, for all drivers here, because it's not going to be a situation of multiple laps. It's a one and done, and there's a lot of time to gain as the race goes on. Sun is setting as we speak, and Matthew Fastnot is going to take it up into 15th. Sky McGurk, a rookie in the 82, is now up in a second, and a few internet troubles there for the number 82 as they back it down and head slowly but surely into pit roads. Watch out for the internet troubles tonight for some of our brand new drivers getting a grip with this league and this series. There's Ethan Burrell racing for EPI tonight, and as Ethan comes across the stripe, he's going to be in 11th for the time being. It looks like no major change for him, as it's going to be Joshua Personette and the veteran Carter Casey also up to the top of the board. Carter going to be in the top 10 now, 2/10 off of the quickest time set by Jackson Van Pelt. And here is your defending champion, Matthew Weeks. Looking at driver telemetry right now, you'll see on and off the throttle through the final 2 corners, but largely putting the power down out of 4 with Matthew Weeks there in the 4th gear. Getting out of a speed of 170 miles an hour, Weeks will end his lap coming to the stripe at 188, and Matthew Weeks with a relatively solid time will move up into 6th. Joshua Personette going to stay in 14th, and Dana Van Meter now going to come through in the number 27 tonight. And Dana, first time in this number, first time in this series, one of the many rookies looking to make things happen as this race progresses. 4th gear, no drivers going to be switching gears tonight, whether they are alone or in a pack, and it's clear as day right now the majority of the field understands exactly what they have to do based on the hour of practice they were given. Most of the field has turned laps here in Auto Club before, and some of which have turned laps in this league at Auto Club, but you'd have to go back to the finale of the Season 5 when this was a truck league and the 5th and final season under the truck regulations. Jordan Kuntz able to come out with his 2nd championship in back-to-back occurrences. Kuntz, the winner of the Truck Series championship, but he had to fight for it. It was a 3-man battle between him, Vinny Tigner, and Alec Daffin, and it was a last lap kerfuffle that gave him the win. Dana Van Meter going to move up to 17th, and at the top of the board tonight, it's going to be Jordan Kuntz in the number 99, taking the pole position. The 2-time champion perhaps looking for vengeance tonight and an opportunity to get the race victory. We'll be right back in a few moments live on FTN and bring you a brief promotional break before the action begins, and we'll return before the green flag drops for all throughout the race. Full-on, uninterrupted coverage. We'll be back after just a moment. You're watching live on FTN, and we're going to take a quick break here as our final practice has just begun.
Racing isn't easy. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Final few seconds here before the action gets started once again. Just a few seconds remaining, and as you can see, currently drivers with 30 seconds left on the chiming charts. And it's been an exciting night so far with qualifying in mind. And Jordan Kuntz, a very familiar face, find himself on the pole position. Wasn't a surprise to see him up there to begin with, and he is looking for some redemption. Right now, Ethan Burrell with the fastest time in the final few seconds, and then behind him, it's going to be Gino Marrow and Jamie McKinney, all of which are brand new drivers tonight, looking at their first taste of SNT competition on a big stage, the season opener with 24 drivers registered and locked in. As the sun continues to set, Ethan Burrell going to be the fastest driver in final practice, and so time to move on to your main event. 80 laps on the table, and one winner can come away with the checkered flag. Auto Club Speedway, the home of the largest ever SNT race in terms of attendance. 45 drivers registered in February of 2023 for a 200-mile race. One of legend, competitors who race to this day, such as Alec Daffin and Jordan Kuntz, Matthew Weeks, all of which were in that race, and they've come back week after week, race after race for further opportunity, and here the field is tonight. So, without further ado, for the first time this year, Let's get to know your starting grid in Saturday Night Thunder. At the front of the field, you're going to see some familiar faces, that is no doubt. And how about the rookies, of course, who are at the front of the field today? However, they're going to be usurped by those who are on the front row. And on the front row tonight is going to be the number 99 of Jordan Kuntz. Right beside him, going to be Jackson Van Pelt in second. And Gino Marrow is going to be the very first of the rookies to make his way up into the picture. He will be starting third here tonight. Then from there, it's going to be Sky McGurk in the fourth spot and Alec Daffin returning to Shaw Racing in fifth. Matthew Weeks, your defending champion, position number 6. Seventh place, Vinny Tigner. Jordan Owens is going to be in eighth, and Henry Kaloff is position number 9 with Jamie McKinney rounding out the top 10. 11th place, then and there, is going to be the driver of the number 57, Kenneth Gorell, back in the picture with Benjamin Bushnell 12th, Carter Casey in 13th, and Joshua Personette in the 14th spot. Ethan Burrell going to find himself 15th with Dylan Wheeler then 16th, and Dana Van Meter is there in 17th. Connor Asbell, the number 72, would come through with the 18th spot, and Michael Deitch returning to the full-time competition after some computer issues which plagued him through the second half of last season. He's found his way back to iRacing and will be starting 19th tonight with Matthew Fastnot rounding out the top 20. Last drivers on the starting grid tonight, David Tooker, the first of which not to take a time. The number 19 today will start in 21st overall. Then you'll have James Bowden, who's going to be 24th and last. 22nd place, just ahead of him is Scott Erickson, and Curtis Sabarin has come back, and tonight he'll be driving the Wood Brothers number 21, the 21st and final driver on your starting grid for tonight's event. Now, drivers make their way through, and off the starting grid, it's time to get busy. In San Bernardino, the drivers roll off the Auto Club pit road, and all 24 are ready for a night of racing in SNT. The storm has returned to California. Now pit road is empty, and we look on to Dylan Wheeler. You're going to find himself there in the middle of this field, and most importantly of all, the championship contenders. Jackson Van Pelt, one of the underdog drivers all of last season, trying to put a fight to be top 5s in points this season as he was last, and Jordan Kuntz. Who else but the number 99 to lead the field to the green? He's faced all conditions, and he's won a championship a few times. He now knows how it feels to lose it in the very last moments of a race. Track temperature tonight going to be 82 degrees Fahrenheit with an ambient temperature just 1 degree warmer of 83. Relative humidity going to be coming in high at about 39%, and the winds are northbound at 1 mile an hour. Partly cloudy skies, but the sun will no longer be visible by the time we hit the halfway margin. 160 miles on the table to bring SNT back to life. The most entertaining series in all of weekend sim racing has returned. Its best drivers are on the front row, and its most successful of all is the man who leads us to green. The green flag will drop with Barney the flagman giving the command. It's Jordan Kuntz leading the field into one. SNT is back to finish off the year. And so now, opening laps, you're going to see Jordan Kuntz up at the head of the field. Sky McGurk with continued internet troubles. We'll see what the admins decide to do about that. And it's going to be, of course, sliding for the time being. Admins are going to let it slide, and so we move on to lap number 2. Jordan, he's hoping to go back to those winning ways, and he finds himself at the head of the field right now. Just below him, it's going to be Gino Marrow, a driver we have not seen yet in SNT competition. And right beside him, going to be Sky up on that high side as Gino comes through in the Chimera Creative 71. Teammates today with Sky, looks like some brand new teams entering the fold for the first time and going against some of the veterans. Of course, for Jordan Kuntz, he's got himself a different look today. You might remember he was with Shaw Racing for 2 seasons, and he ended that tenure, of course, with what happened last season. And his return, once again this time, he looks to be with Premier Motorsports in the number 99, and going from the effective factory team of this league back to, of course, his sim racing competition out of SNT. Kuntz, a former road to pro driver who's had his shot at getting up there for the prize of over $100,000 in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, has once again returned to competitive sim racing. And you can see now as the 99 goes up high, he'll let Gino, the rookie, have a chance to go down low and take the lead for the first time tonight. Gino looking to show what he's gotten. If we take a look at the telemetry right now, running solid and smooth at 160 some miles an hour. Jackson Van Pelt is going to lie back in third. Gino now going to be battling toe-to-toe with Jordan Kuntz, and a rather aggressive block up top. It's going to cause him to go loose, and Gino gets in the wall trying to go for the lead and shooting too far up to the sky, trying to get that race lead in the clean air. It's going to cost him big, and now the mid-pack is coming. Benjamin Bushnell, Jordan Owens, Henry Kaloff and company, all of which are now going to be coming through, and the number 59 of Bushnell is going to be in the middle of this battle. And there is your defending champion in Matthew Weeks as he races down the back straightaway here. Looks like for the time being, he's doing a real good job staying with Benjamin, and it's going to be side by side again. Gino falls down to 6th, and now Sky McGurk is going to have to go toe-to-toe with Jordan Kuntz, who finds himself up and ahead. Alec Daffin is a driver who sometimes we don't expect to see at these races. He told us coming into, of course, last season, it would be his final season. He told us in the season finale he would be stepping away for the summer, and it looks like he was enticed by former series owner and team owner of Shaw Racing, Cameron Perez. Give it one last chance. And so, back to the entirety of what he's been in this series, a contender, and in addition, he's back to a very similar style of paint scheme. You might remember Season 4 of the Truck Series, Alec Daffin, he ran this very same paint scheme. And it's back again. Shaw Racing getting back its former flagship driver. He and Jordan Kuntz going toe-to-toe for Shaw for a championship in the Truck Series, perhaps one of the best 2-car performances for any team in this league to date. And now, Alec Daffin has returned. Jordan Kuntz has walked out the door, but in his place, an equally talented driver who's looking to go out for the race lead now as Sky McGurk takes Jordan Kuntz right up top. And as Jordan has to move up high, looks like a little bit loose there for Jackson Van Pelt, once again wiggling as Alec Daffin is going to give him a little bit of a love tap. That's what happened to him in Atlanta. If you remember the fantastic save that got involved with, of course, Jordan Kuntz, Jackson Van Pelt, Matthew Weeks, all of which they were scrambling up and down the track, and it could have been a massive wreck which determined the championship then and there. Everyone, notably Van Pelt, doing a great job with that car control, and it proves to still be one of Jackson's biggest strengths, and it'll keep him in the race-leading battle now as Vinny Tigner finds himself just behind. We didn't go to Auto Club last season. Instead, we went to Michigan, and Vinny Tigner, he won at that track. Those are the two most similar tracks that we see when we go all across the country. Michigan is almost like the state of Michigan's Auto Club, and Auto Club used to be what was California's Michigan, so to speak. And they're very similar tracks with very similar racing styles, and similar drivers tend to come up to the top of the field and the top of the order week in, week out. Matthew Weeks is a driver who I wouldn't expect to be all too far behind for much longer. He's proven to be great at a circuit like Michigan before, and tonight, Vinny Tigner looking to channel that energy. As you can see, he finds himself inside of the 4th position. Vinny's taken a few weeks in the Monday Night Integrity Ignite Series and has become their leading rookie in the championship standings, boasting a top 10 point standing and multiple top 10s, double-digit amount as a matter of fact. Now, he's gotten very close to the race win, and Vinny has slowly but surely become a competitor in one of iRacing's longest tenured and most successful leagues. Alec Daffin, of course, is the champion of the Ignite Series. Last season, Alec Daffin practically became the best driver in the Xfinity car on the platform. He finished top 5 in the point standings here in SNT, but more notably, and more impressively anyway, we saw what happened with the Ignite Series, finishing off 2023 with 5 consecutive podium finishes. He got himself 2 wins, 1 second-place finish, and 2 third-place finishes. His average finish was just about second place on the dot. He went into the championship picture 15th and last of all those who qualified. He won the championship outright, and he did so exactly by what he's done right now so far tonight, staying up at the front of the field, making solid moves, and so he's going to now move himself up into the second spot. Alec going to come across the line. Yellow flag's going to be out for the first time tonight, and there you have it. Contact, and there's going to be Dylan Wheeler all around. Yellow flag is out, and we're going to take a look now as it's going to be smoke billowing. Curtis Sabarin, Jordan Owens, and Scott Erickson bring out the yellow flag, and we are once again pacing. It's the first time this season, and unfortunately some trouble at the back of the field brings us to just about a standstill. Taking a look at the replay right now, and you'll see it looks like the 21 of Sabarin got loose, then taking Jordan Owens right there with them. Dylan Wheeler going to end up getting hooked up the track, and destruction ensues from there. Curtis ends up right in the wall. See Bowden, James Bowden having to make it around. Curtis right there getting back on the way. Multiple drivers caught up in that incident, including but not limited to Erickson, Dylan Wheeler, Jordan Owens, and Curtis Sabarin. And it looks like perhaps some minor involvement for a driver like Matthew Fastnot. Most of the field should be able to get away here, and the yellow flag will fly. And Fastnot with that front end damage, while minor is apparent as everyone catches up and gains their ground again. Jordan Kuntz is going to be your race leader, 12 laps in out of 80. Alec Daffin sporting this new look, but of course the same number 48 he's brought with him, with or without a team. Tonight, of course, running for Shaw Racing. Last season, running independently with sponsorship from Colorado Technical University. And now, he's come back in his very familiar form, and we'll see whether or not Shaw Racing as a team can come back as a multi-car enterprise. We saw last season multiple drivers, of course, under the Shaw emblem. However, it looks like tonight, Alec, at least for the time being, he is alone, and will come down to the inside line, and he's going to come in right now with the Premier 99. Premier Concrete Solutions going to be on the car up in front and looking to keep a hard nose tonight. Kuntz does not want any piece of the trouble, and so we come down to pit road one by one, and you'll see a few drivers staying out. Jamie McKinney and Connor Asbell making the decision to stay on the track. Rest of the field, as pit road is going to get busier, decide instead to stay exactly where they are. Drivers already rolling off. Jordan Kuntz will get the advantage, and Alec Daffin comes out second. Then it's going to be Jackson Van Pelt, and further after, it's going to be Sky McGurk, Vinny Tigner, Henry Kaloff, Matthew Weeks, and Michael Deitch to round out the top 10. And as Deitch comes out right now, you'll see him just behind Kaloff, and HKR Racing, another multi-car team. Tonight, it's going to be Kaloff there in the 9th position, and Michael Deitch in 10th. HKR are going to be another 2-car threat to watch out for. Henry is a winner in this series, got it done Talladega 2 seasons ago now. It still hasn't been able to find victory lane ever since. That's not to say Henry's been bad necessarily. Level of competition in the top 5, top 6 is about as stout as they come. So Henry can have to watch out if he tries to move up to the front of the field and figure out what it will take for him to find more success. Sky McGurk is being sent to the back of the field, presumably for internet troubles. And you'll see Sky making their way back. And number 82 right now, no choice but to go down to the tail end. I mean, as many times as we watched the 82, severe internet troubles, and it looks like no choice but right now to putter to the back. And coming through, back half of the field, and Sky will get back in line, as it looks like we'll have 2 drivers on older rubber, leading us to the front of the pack here. So double file, the number 51 of Jamie McKinney with the opportunity right now to go for the victory. First time we've seen Jamie up and in front so far, and looking at the stints, you'll see who's gone long and who has not. Most of the field literally just went to pit road. However, for McKinney and Connor Asbell, they're now going to be the oldest drivers tire-wise on the field, deciding to take their initial stint to the bank here and see if it pays off. Tire stints are going to be something that the drivers have to keep an eye on, so it looks like tonight, being very conservative, these drivers only have 4 sets of tires on pit road. So that's not all too much if we have multiple cautions evenly spaced out and or an overtime finish. And it looks like Jamie, Connor Asbell alike are deciding instead, save it for later. If there's going to be more yellow flags, why not bank on it happening and don't risk what you have right now. Instead, your patience will prove to be the winning factor if the race goes their way. iRacing official pace car can drop down to pit road this time by and going to leave Jamie McKinney in the hands of the field. Let's see what happens here. Old tire is going to be up in front. Who's to say if we don't have that tire squealing? Now we'll find out. Through the Geico restart zone. First restart of this campaign. Jamie gets off nicely, and so does Connor. Top 2 drivers will lead us into turns 1 and 2 without trouble, and McKinney goes up high immediately, blocking up top. So now it's going to be McKinney side by side with Jordan Kuntz, number 99 crew, who are already toe-to-toe. And it looks like that momentum being built up rather rapidly here, going down to the inside and finding that rhythm. It looks like Kuntz is already settling into a groove, even less than a lap into this stint. First, of course, opportunity to come down a pit road tonight for many of the drivers here. They are still rookies and have not experienced that green, white, checkered experience. It could come into play with pit road, but also they have yet to experience a green flag pit stop. Alec Daffin now going to the inside to make it yet another battle between he and the number 99 of Kuntz. And they'll be toe-to-toe now as Alec is going to be led down the back straightaway by Jordan. No choice but to settle back in, merge into line once again, and there he'll be. Jordan Kuntz right now, the number 99, holding his own up in front. Up top, Jamie McKinney is going to be falling back rather quickly. Jamie is going to be currently down into 5th, and looking further back, Connor Asbell going to be there in 7th. Up in front, Matthew Weeks now having the opportunity to fight his way into the top 5. See here, Matthew up into 6th. Didn't get the best of qualifying runs to be immediately competitive tonight. However, making his way further on up in the number 11 car, it looks like right in front of him, it's going to be the number 51 of Jamie McKinney. And Jamie might get past rather quickly here. Look at the last 4 laps that Matthew has run. The gap has slightly shrunk from the restart to this point. Coming across the line, we'll see for sure whether or not Matthew's got what it takes. And just behind him, the HKR drivers are going to split it 3 wide as they're due to come across the line. Jamie McKinney with a rather erratic block, and the number 51 drops low to come up high again. And here comes Henry Kaloff now getting to the bottom side with a much better run into the corner. And so Jamie going to get slotted down the middle, and there you have it. A little bit more trouble for McKinney, lap after lap, wearing himself down. The old tires not proving a farewell in very quick stint. Riding on board right now with Jamie McKinney, you'll see coming out of the corner simply cannot put the power down, and it's as if the drivers on new tire are almost locked into the track and running around it like they are in a slot car circuit. Right now for Jamie, it's anything but. He does not have the grip to maintain his position, and instead is going to be falling down the order lap after lap consistently without any help. He's going to go all the way up high there, and it looks like involuntarily slips back to 11th, and there you have it. A little bit of a weave and a bobble there, and so here comes Sky McGurk and Connor Asbell. Looks like Connor now going to have a chance to get by Jamie, although Connor started behind the 51. Jamie definitely getting rattled a little bit harder, trying to stay up in front, but that fight to no avail will send him exactly where Connor is. And now Sky McGurk, who had to go to the end of the field, is already making up time and charging back in front without help. Top two drivers still going to be Alec Daffin and Jordan Kuntz. Right now, though, it's going to be Jordan with the advantage and Alec Daffin right behind. Vinny Tigner now getting a chance to run up there in fourth, and Matthew Weeks rounds out the top five. For as how many of these rookies we have today, it looks like it's going to be a top five composed fully of the veterans, the drivers who have been here season in, season out. And now that Jackson Van Pelt has officially become one of those veterans, you're seeing the best of the best run at the front of the field, and the best drivers now getting that chance to string out single file and get settled in for the long haul. Here's a look at Henry Kaloff right now in the number 63. And Kaloff right now is going to be leading his teammate Michael Deitch. Currently, Michael going to find himself in 19th, dropping down 9 spots from 9th when the run started, and it looks like Kaloff instead faring quite well, as he's going to make his way up to 7th, even though he started inside the top 10 of this run as well. Looks like for the time being, clearly a much better opportunity for the number 63 of Kaloff as he makes his way through, lap in, lap out, 21 laps in out of a total of 80. One driver going to be sliding further on back, and they will save it. Sky McGurk right behind Curtis Sabarin, and it looks like it was Benjamin Bushnell who gets a little bit loose out of 4, nevertheless remains in 12th here and doesn't lose all too much time. The battle now continues for the race lead with Jordan Kuntz moved back into 3rd, and instead Jackson Van Pelt now having a chance to take that top spot for his own. Van Pelt yet to be a winner, and still looking for the opportunity to break through and break out with win number 1 in his career. Wouldn't it be nice? I'm sure that Jackson Van Pelt's been waiting for a chance all throughout the past season, and he has gotten close. He started in Season 5 of the Truck Series and came in as an immediate threat at circuits such as Atlanta, but his long-run pace had been for a long while what hampered him from finding success. Right now, Jordan Kuntz is going to be again behind the 07 of Jackson Van Pelt. Jackson goes all the way up high to his bottom. It's going to be right now Matthew Weeks coming in hot. And you can see there, Matthew's got a chance now to make his way inside the podium. And your defending champion already looking to put up a champion's drive to kick off the season. 23 laps in out of 80 here. Let's take a ride on board right now with Matthew and see exactly what he's doing inside the cockpit. And staying toe-to-toe right now, Matthew Weeks does with Jordan Kuntz, shades of last season in Atlanta. It all came down to a pit stop. Jordan Kuntz decided to take 2 tires. Matthew Weeks decided to go a little bit safer and stick with the 4. What happened from then was one of the most incredible 2-lap shootouts we've ever seen on the iRacing platform. Weeks having to go around on a slingshot maneuver while 3 wide to get the championship win. Unbelievable race it was, and now Matthew Weeks finds himself, of course, with something to prove. Can he be the next 2-time champion and match the record and legacy of Jordan Kuntz? I mean, Jordan was nothing short of unstoppable to kick off last season. In the first 10 races, he won 50% of which, but admittedly, after the 5 Flag Speedway race, which was about the halfway portion of the season, Kuntz sort of fell apart, and Matthew Weeks was able to rattle off 3 victories in the playoff picture before coming into Atlanta and making it a dead heat, dead even race for the top spot. And so as the 2 drivers went in dead even, it was a winner-take-all event, and Matthew Weeks was the man who came out on top. Even though Kuntz had the early season, it was eventually Matthew Weeks who was able to make it happen on points. His consistency, plus Jordan Kuntz faltering, gave him the championship for the first time in his young career here in this league. Both drivers have been here since Season 4, but now on a full-time basis, it looks like we're going to have a head-to-head battle between those two and maybe Alec Daffin. Admittedly, Alec Daffin having one of the weakest seasons of his SNT career. Last time he went back to full-time competition, he was a little bit stronger in Season 5 of the Truck Series. Coming back after 2 consecutive second-place finishes in the championship, Alec Daffin was not able to muster up the top 2, but instead falling back into the top 5 status. Of course, this season, the goal has been what it's been for oh so long, and it will tend to remain as such for a driver who's stayed so close. The championship is on the mind of Shaw Racing and Alec Daffin. And I'm sure right now that even though they're a little bit further behind when it comes to that reputation of being a championship winning team, they can do it again. They did it with Jordan Kuntz. Who's to say Shaw Racing as a team here? They are the staple team and the franchise of the series. They could do it once again and prove all other teams that Shaw is not done yet. Side by side right now, it's going to be Matthew Weeks right there with Jordan Kuntz once more, and it looks like Matthew Weeks staying right behind. Ethan Burrell so far going to be the leading rookie on the day, and he finds himself up in front at number 37, remaining tough in the 6th place. Nobody really competing right now with the number 37, and instead Ethan hanging in there with minimal competition, and it looks like he's adjusted rather quickly to the role that he currently holds. Taking a brief look on board now with the 37 of Burrell, you'll see that he has a great view on the battle ahead of him. Take a look right now as we watch on board with Ethan Burrell. Racing down the back straightaway right now, you can see Ethan just behind Matthew Weeks. Looks like Vinny Tigner going to slide a little bit further back and is now into that 6th spot, which is giving Ethan the chance to accustom himself to the top 5 placements, as now Alec Daffin leads the line 29 laps in out of 80, 30 in so far, and if we are to go 25 more laps, we will see our first green flag pit cycle tonight. We've gone 17 so far with Daffin in control. Daffin, Kuntz, Van Pelt, the 1-2-3 combo up on top of the charts. Curtis Sabarin right now recovering from that initial incident, still with left side scrapes, but overall not doing a bad job considering the fact he did have some substantial damage. Taking a look at the last lap times for every driver, everyone's relatively close up in front, and it looks like now the 55 of Benjamin is going to get a little bit more tagged up. Bushnell has to go to the inside, and that will let Curtis Sabarin right through. Looking at those mile-an-hour speeds, fastest times at the front of the field going to be in the 170 or 171 category, picking and choosing on those few extra tenths of a second. Matthew Weeks that time by running the official last lap good time, and Jackson Van Pelt's time, it looks like, due to some connection troubles, might have been changed. I'm sure he did not run at a speed of 605 miles an hour last lap, or he'd be 2 laps ahead of the field. Great question in the chat room from Tony, among the others who have stopped by in the broadcast chat room tonight. How do you join the action that you're seeing right now? Well, pretty simple. You head up to iRacing, and iRacing Motorsport Simulations is the world's leading online racing experience, and it's been that way for now more than 16 years. iRacing.com is where you have to go, and all fans of this channel, I think at one point or another, have seen simulation racing. Whether you come here for HCBB content or all the iRacing broadcasts we do, iRacing is the lifeblood of FTN and the lifeblood of the sim racing community, with over 100 cars, tracks, including customizable paint schemes, a progression license system, and the ability to race head-to-head with your racing favorites from the real world, such as real-life drivers, including Dale Earnhardt Jr. It's a no-doubter. iRacing is where you want to be if you want to have a fun time online sim racing with the best of them. It's as real as it can get. Without stepping inside the cockpit, iRacing is the best way to go. iRacing is required with personal computing devices. No consoles are able to join the service, and you do, usually anyway, need at least a video game controller to get onto the platform with an acceptable computer. Visit iRacing.com for more information about membership registration and how you can join the fun. We'd love to see more drivers and, of course, more fans coming to the track. That's how some of these drivers started. Keep that in mind. There are some young drivers in this field. Tonight, maybe not the case since we don't know at many of the drivers. They're getting their very first chances, but we've seen in this series before 13, 14, 15-year-olds coming in and ripping up the track. They were dominant, they got the victory, and they all started as fans at some point as well. And now they have a chance to race in this competitive scene and show exactly how good they are. And that's the best part about sim racing. Anyone can come in and show exactly what they've got as a successful driver. Joshua Personette right now going to go down to the inside, and he's got Gino Morrow just ahead. Looks like Gino going to hang on, and even though his teammate having some of those internet troubles, the team has hung on quite nicely. Team Chimera, 11th place right now for Gino, and Sky McGurk having to disconnect 8 laps down due to those continued network troubles. Now at the front of the field, you'll see Jackson Van Pelt and a few others with, looking particularly right now at the 07 and the 11, both battling against one another. Alec Daffin and Jordan Kuntz are due to be leading, and right now it's going to be Daff at the head of the field with Jordan Kuntz just behind, both of which they're in fairly familiar places right now. I doubt that they're going to be all too aggressive. They're going to stay where they are and hold each other to a pretty solid standard. They're not aggressive drivers by nature. They really do have to get pushed and shoved around to get all too worried about having to be very risky drivers. So, for the time being instead, it looks like the both of them are going to opt to race where they are, not go aggressively for a position. Ethan Burrell right now going to be in third. He's made it by some of the veterans and now finds himself ahead of Weeks, Van Pelt, and Tigner. And if Ethan now has a really good chance to go for the lead, we might see him race more aggressive as Jordan Kuntz now looks to the inside and taking it bottom side and deep. He's going to let Alec Daffin know that he does not want to play around either. Side by side now, and this could be a distraction that allows Ethan to rise further to prominence. The gap between the top 3 drivers, 15/100ths of a second. Ethan Burrell now going to be right there on the tail end of Alec Daffin's number 48. Jordan Kuntz is going to be running down that back straightaway with a slight edge, and the 48 machine of Daffin, well, now he's going to have to peel out and let the 37 have just a bit of room. The number 48 of Alec Daffin has made his way down to the bottom side, and right now he's going to let Jordan Kuntz go right up top. These two drivers have battled each other in most every scenario you can imagine. Super Speedway Racing, short track racing, intermediate racing. The only thing they really haven't done head-to-head is road course racing. The last time they did have a chance, Alec Daffin had a, quite frankly, terrible race and ended up out of the event by the first halfway margin, and he ended up far out of contention while Jordan Kuntz came to the win in Watkins Glen. Now Ethan Burrell going to make his way in and split the long-time battling drivers, and the series rivals are now going to be cut up first and second, with Matthew Weeks now coming through perhaps for a chance to get third. He'll look to the inside, and he will not have an easy fight here, but he does have the preferred groove as stadium lights are on for the first time tonight here in Fontana. And going to see the sun completely set within the next 10 to 15 minutes. Expected to be dark skies by the time the checkered flag falls, that is for certain. Looking further back right now, closest battle going to be with Benjamin Bushnell and Dana Van Meter, both of which brand new drivers in this series, and the Miller 27 are right up top on the 55 Mobil 1 Toyota. It's going to be head-to-head right now, but the advantage goes again to Dana. Benjamin Bushnell having a little bit of control trouble early as we were watching him previous. Looks like he's been able to settle himself in once more. However, not going to be all too easy given the fact that those tires might be shredded more than other drivers. Getting loose a time or two might not seem too much of a problem, but if it happens at such a high speed like at Auto Club Speedway, well, even a recovery can shred your tires that much more. Luckily for Bushnell, it looks like that was a very minor incident, and he was able to hang on for at least the majority of what he's got left, but he's still on the back half of the field right now, running in 14th, and doesn't really show any signs of improvement. As you can see right now, Connor Asbell going to be running there with James Bowden, and it looks like Bowden going to be just behind while Connor Asbell gets passed there by Jordan Owens. Leader right now, that fight is going to be Jordan, while Jamie McKinney was the leader, so 20 laps to go. Well, you look at this right now. Jamie's now going to find himself all the way back in 21st and last, the final driver in this event right now on the lead lap, save for Dylan Wheeler. So it's really bad news. He's going to have to come down a pit road after 40 laps. And if Jamie is to go all the way, he can. He comes in after a 40-lap stint, 41 laps into this race, and 40 laps are left on the table. So we've gotten to the halfway marker in our first race this season, and every driver should be able to make it to the checkered flag, no matter when they went down a pit road. So it means that pit road's going to be relatively safe to enter for everyone today. It's not a worry of when you want to go down a pit road. It's more of a preference. Now, talking more about that preference, I would be very, very doubtful of drivers who are competitive right now coming in before lap 35. There's no reason to come in before that point anyway. Maybe 35, 36 is where it really begins, but then from there, going up until lap number 40, it would be optimal to raise the number more than anything else. And for the time being here, it looks like that's what these drivers are aiming to do. 29 laps and still counting onward. Jordan Coons and Ethan Burrell showing no signs of tiring. And right now for EPI, the 37 team showing up and showing out quite well. Not many setup shop drivers coming into this series, and we've seen it, quite a few of which for one-off starts, but Ethan now looking to show that he is serious. The last sort of factory team we had for another iRacing institution was JD Laird and the JDR Graphics guys who came in, including Alexander Russell and Carson Bowers, who were able to tear up the field in the opening half of Season 5, and they did some pretty good racing, and of course shook up the championship standings, none of which made it into the first Grand National Series season. However, for the Truck Series, they did a real good job of keeping things intense until the very end of their short tenure. So EPI now sending a driver in Burrell, and we'll see what he's got in store as a contender in the iRacing scene competitively. He's got an A-class rating and an I rating at that of 6,369. Jordan Kuntz, the only driver just ahead of him with a 6,800 I rating. The front of the field is jam-packed with talent. Right now, running in that 5th position, he's all the way down now to 6th. It's going to be Vinny Tigner with nearly a 6,000 I rating. Then you've got right up and ahead, it's David Tooker, who's got nearly a 5,000 I rating, and 5,200 I rating here for Matthew Weeks. The lowest driver I rating wise in the top 6 is Alec Daffin, and he's got a 4,400 I rating to boast. It's not like he's a bad driver, but instead he's simply surrounded by some of the best talent in this platform, let alone this series. 36 laps to go this time by as the field is going to fly by the start-finish line. You can see still, Kuntz is ahead, Ethan Burrell second, and Alec Daffin is in third. 1-2-3 combo, making it by lap after lap, and they've done so with ease. Dana Van Meter going to be in 11th, and Benjamin Bushnell up and ahead. 10th place right now for Bushnell, and it looks like in the later stage of this run, he's coming to his own. But part of that is because of drivers who have cycled down a pit road, although not many have. It looks like Bushnell having a chance inside the top 10 for the first time tonight, and that's where attrition comes into play. Maybe you're not the fastest driver lap in, lap out, but instead you're someone who waits for the long haul. Some of those drivers are getting that advantage and that benefit right now, and Ethan Burrell going to come down to the inside groove, taking it to the bottom there on Jordan Kuntz, and for the first time tonight, the rookies have control. Burrell going to get up to the front of the field and lead here in the San Bernadino 160. We've made it nearly 100 miles so far, and to finish it off with a 60-mile sprint, Burrell would love to have the advantage coming down a pit road, which I think all drivers up at the front, they are anticipating having to come in sometime soon. Coming across the stripe again, side by side, it's going to be Burrell down to the bottom and Kuntz up top, trying to maximize momentum with Alec Daffin coming through. Alec also might be a bit of a wrench in the equation. As you can see, Daffin right there, going to be the middle of these two drivers. Now, pit road going to be active for those drivers who went down a pit road previously. Dana Van Meter coming in after 33 laps and will be the first of many deciding to go in. Dana deciding to split it down the middle. However, that undercut is most likely to be relatively uncommon as the leaders in the field are going to get another lapper right there with. Take a look at Joshua Personette, and he's going to make it rather personal down on the bottom. He's going to get right by Jordan Kuntz and company, and the lead battle is going to have to take a temporary hold as Michael Deitch also comes right through. How about that? And that's what happens when you're on new tires. Stuck to the ground, and you have no trouble making moves, even if it looks like it's inconvenient for the drivers around you. And so now, it's going to help out Jordan Kuntz at the very least. He got rather close there to Personette. Michael Deitch left him a little bit more room, or Kenneth Garrell rather, and it looks like now it's going to be that number 99 of Kuntz up and ahead, leading the way with Burrell, Daffin, and Matthew Weeks all in a line. And so the closest battle on the track remains Gino Marrow and Joshua Personette. And see right now as these drivers continue to fight each other. Contact! Number 7 of Personette is going to be hooking up the track, and there he goes, right by the leaders. Yellow flag is out. Your leaders are okay, but Joshua Personette will bring the caution out for the second time tonight. And just after getting by your race-leading contenders, Personette will bring big trouble back to the field. Take a look at this. Joshua Personette, and the yellow flag for the second time tonight is out. Contact there with Garrell. Sends him right down the track, and he's going to immediately come back up. In all honesty, minor rear end damage, but that's all that came of it. Caution's out again, and this time around a major and necessary safety yellow. Could have been horrible if the leaders got in it, but luckily they were a little bit too far behind, and that's where the new tires come into advantage. They were just past less than a lap before the incident, and there was already a 5 or 6 second advantage for Personette to have a buffer when he came up the circuit. So expect these drivers who are already on the circuit to come down a pit road once again. Your net leader is predicted to be Gino Marrow after all is said and done, and it'll be Jordan Kuntz leading the rest of which down to pit road again. All those who have just gone down to pit road within the last 10 laps are in the best situation they could possibly be in. Now the lead lap is going to be, of course, a status they will return to. However, at the same time, no chance to cycle any further, for most of which Gino Marrow might be the one and only with a chance to even contend for the race win, and for the time being, the rest of which with Connor Asbell on down will return to the lead lap, and so pit road is about to get busy. The desert here in not Sonoma, but still California, it is evident that we associate Sonoma with those desert and those valleys, but here in Fontana, another beautiful landscape. And you can see right now, drivers heading down pit road and getting busy once again with strategy. It will be their second and final pit stops of the night. And so now, Gino Marrow is the race leader for the first time in his SNT career, and this gives Kuntz and company a chance to settle in down pit road. Expect the traditional 4 tires and fuel right now as you look at Jordan, and as it looks like Gino Marrow has gotten away, Kuntz will come off the line with the advantage. Then from there, Alec Daffin and Ethan Burrell, the top 3 from pit road. Matthew Weeks, Vinny Tigner, Jackson Van Pelt, David Tucker, Henry Kaloff, and Carter Casey round out the top 10 from there, and Casey getting himself back up inside of the top 10 positions, a place which he has not been in all night long. However, he's shown the potential to be a little bit more consistent as this race progresses. Carter Casey coming back to what will be full-time competition in the number 8 and of the AC Delco Chevrolet tonight. It's great to see Carter Casey back. For the first half of last season, he was continuing his full-time race control status, and instead he decided to get back in the car for the second half of the campaign. And as soon as he did that, it's like lightning in a bottle. He was able to ring off and rattle off an initial podium in his very first return start. He's been a top 10 contender ever since, and Carter Casey now with an opportunity to show the field why he returned to racing. It's clear he's got just enough in the tank to go for a season, if not more. And it looks like for now, the number 30 That's the number marker we've got left. 30 laps to go. We'll return with 28 laps remaining, and it'll be Gino Marrow up and ahead with his first ever chance as the leader. Chimera Creative, Team Chimera as we refer to them. 2 drivers enter, one of which will finish dead last, but the other of which has a chance to go all the way and collect the race win. Remaining side by side, number 99 of Jordan Kuntz going to be up on top. It looks like, despite the fact, of course, Kuntz had to come down to pit road, he should have the clear-cut advantage relative to his competitors. He's got that clean air up in front, so if the number 71 falters, watch out for Jordan Kuntz not only to get the race lead, but to avoid the trouble at the same time. Alec Daffin, Matthew Weeks, and behind them, Jackson Van Pelt. That's the lineup on the inside groove. The outside composed of Gino Marrow, Ethan Burrell, and Vinny Tigner. And then further back, you have a driver such as David Tooker in the number 19. We'll see whether or not the inside or outside line get the clear-cut advantage to kick this all off. Here we go again. Number 71 of Gino Marrow going to find himself leading the way. And beside him, Jordan Kuntz. Green flag due to fly again with 28 laps remaining. And now Gino Marrow getting that opportunity up in front, and he will make the most of it. Green flag's going to fly for the second restart of the night. Marrow surges out and ahead, and he will bring Alec Daffin right with them side by side, all ready for second. Down low, a few drivers are going to go trying to avoid the trouble, namely Henry Kaloff, and a little bit further back, you can see some movement from Matthew Fastnot. But still, the number 71 machine remains up and ahead. A little bit of warmth in the tire, and overall, the clear-cut advantage on this first lap. But Jordan Kuntz now due to reel them all in. Kuntz, Burrell, Alec Daffin all coming through. 4th place right now for Alec Daffin, finding himself now just outside the podium. 27 laps to go, and still counting down. We'll see what happens right now, of course, with the number 71 of Gino Marrow. It looks like Gino going to take it to the top side here, and there's little else room that he can take, as it looks like the inside line occupied now by the drivers who have that quicker rubber, that younger rubber, which will bring them up to the head of the field. Now you see it. It's the number 99 of Jordan Kuntz back out in the head, and he will bring right there with them who else but Ethan Burrell, who has suddenly become the right-hand man to the 99 in the latter stage of this race. And we might see a rookie come out with a first-time win tonight. Jordan Kuntz able to win the season opener last time we went racing, and it only was until the week after in Las Vegas where a rookie got the win last season. That was James Thurston, and then from there, Kuntz went on a dominant stretch where every start he had in those first 5 or 6 he won, and then of course he got just one more win on the campaign. Now 26 laps to go. Gino Marrow going to shoot it up high once again. Not done fighting for a top 10 spot, but very unlikely he'll be able to hang on for all too much longer. It's a bit too long of a stint to really have much an advantage here. And you can see now it's going to be Ethan Burrell trailing, and he's on Kuntz's tail. Does he look low? Decides not to, and instead he'll stay on his back bumper. Take a look on board now with Ethan Burrell as he finds himself slowly but surely moving into the race leading picture. At a speed of 180 plus miles an hour going into turns 3 and 4, Burrell backs off into the entry of the corner and instead decides to let it loose coming out of the exit of this segment. You can see there coming out of turn 4, definitely much quicker, and it's clear as day Burrell still has what it takes. He'll now be side by side instead with Jordan Kuntz, and as the two drivers go neck and neck, the bottom side is his. Ethan Burrell up to the race lead now with 24 remaining. Jordan Kuntz going to ring it around the top, and he's going to have next level speed there. You can see that momentum is going to carry him into 3 and 4, and like a dart without feathers, and luckily he is coordinated enough to go down low and keep it on the racing surface. Side by side again for the lead, and it looks like it's not a clear-cut battle yet. I'm sure Ethan Burrell must have felt great about how he got through 1 and 2, but Jordan Kuntz is going to stick it right back to him, and now nearly door banging across the line. They remain in a dead heat with 23 laps to go. We're going to crank it up next time by with the best camera providers on the iRacing market, TrackCams22.com. We thank them for their continued support live on FTN for 4 seasons of SNT competition. TrackCams for Gourmets has brought each and every angle you've seen on your screen, and the best broadcasters choose the best cameras at TrackCams for Gourmets. Visit Facebook.com/TrackCams or TrackCams22.com for more information, as we are due to return with 22 laps to go. You're watching the San Bernadino 160, and we will return after we crank it up in Fontana with 22 laps to go. Coming across the line now with 17 laps remaining, Ethan Burrell and Jordan Kuntz are going toe-to-toe for the race win, and it appears clear as day now these are the best contenders looking out for the race victory. Kuntz in the number 99 machine looking low. He'll dive in once again. It's been relatively back and forth now for the last 10 to 15 laps, and I'm expecting it to stay that way in the final few moments of this race. Matthew Weeks going to be up to third, and Alec Daffin is going to be now into the fourth position, and it looks like the front runners have remained rather consistent from the drop of the green flag to the checkered here, which is coming up momentarily. Burrell going to get back on the tail end now, the number 99 in Kuntz, and going to drop it a few grooves lower. You got the premier number 99 of Jordan Kuntz up top, and hanging it up to the high side allows for Ethan to maybe try to go for that lower groove and cut the distance. However, momentum is hard to come by on the bottom, and that's why you're seeing some drivers chasing the high side as opposed to immediately going down low. And now Jordan Kuntz through 3 and 4 has the track position to go for it, so he takes it to the bottom side. Looks like preferential for most drivers, as we see here coming out of turns 3 and 4 to go to the bottom and then rocket up high. Side by side, further back in the field, let's take a look now what's going on. There's Curtis Sabarin coming up now on Michael Deitch in the number 17. The closest battle on the field remains up in front though, and while this is tight, it's still tighter up and ahead. Ethan Burrell now going to be up there with Matthew Weeks, and even though Matthew has not necessarily been a winning contender all throughout this event, take a look now. All of a sudden, Matthew Weeks is getting closer and closer, inching his way into championship contention, perhaps very early. And I'm sure his eyes are, of course, on the biggest prize of all, which would be the race win. Why not begin going for it right now? There's still 15 laps to go, but he's waited more than 60 now, and we're coming up on that 67 lap very, very soon. Time is not to be wasted in a situation like this, so we figure now that Matthew Weeks is going to get on, turn on the jets, and fight for the race victory. It's the least he could do if he wants a serious chance at getting it done before the race comes to a close. And now the race's close is drawing nearer here. 14 laps remaining. Even Alec Daffin is going to be in the mix right now. Daffin might be a little bit further behind for the time being, but that's only temporary. And we imagine that as these final laps come through and progress further, you're going to see Daffin slowly but surely inching forth if he still has the pace and momentum. 14 laps to go, but coming down to a baker's dozen of 13 remaining. Ethan Burrell going to be there in second, and now you see Jordan Kuntz going up top. Jordan going to go high, Matthew Weeks going to go low, and nearly 3 wide for the first time in this battle. Watch out here. It looks like we're getting tighter and tighter till the tail end comes. These two drivers up in front might have a second half of competition. Alec Daffin going to remain fourth. Matthew Weeks right there with. Last time by, take a look at their most recent speeds, and you'll see all of which are running very close lap times. Coming across the line there, Jordan Kuntz runs at a speed of 170.394. Burrell is slightly faster, or rather slower. He doesn't get up to that 327 mark, only a 314. And Ethan Burrell remains close, but still not enough just yet. Take a look on board now for Matthew Weeks as he's beginning to get some pressure from Daffin while trying to put some on Ethan Burrell. Matthew Weeks now going to see ahead of him side by side for the race lead. Ethan Burrell and Jordan Kuntz going at it once again. Kuntz going to be up on the top side, and it looks like Burrell there down low. The sun is slowly set, and we'll have just enough daylight to get us to the very end here. Jordan Kuntz hanging on to what little sunlight there is. I'm sure now confident that he's got what it takes to come home with a victory. He just makes the right moves and plays the right cards. Tire degradation hasn't been all too awful for these drivers. In all honesty, it looks like they've been able to stay within a second and a half of their fastest times, at least to this point. With the final 10 laps, of course, all bets are off on whether or not that will be still even feasible. let alone if it even happens. But for now, it looks like Jordan Kuntz and all those who are around him have instead decided to stay at a relatively similar pace. And now Ethan Burrell going to go down to the inside once again. Lunging to the bottom has been his textbook maneuver to combat Jordan Kuntz going up high. And so far, admittedly, it has done him wonders. Staying right around his arch rival of the race, Ethan Burrell right there. Jordan Kuntz up top. Tire saving versus perhaps a little bit more of that aggression. And it looks like for now, the aggressive side is not going to have the race lead. It's going to be Jordan Kuntz at the line with the ever so slight advantage up in front. Now you'll see the number 48 machine of Alec Daffin stays a car length back on Matthew Weeks. And David Tucker, for the first time tonight, Tucker is there and looking for a chance to get for the race victory himself. Even Vinny Tigner here in 6th. He's in the mix as well. Second pack is going to be rather tight. You're going to see the number 63 of Henry Caloff there with Jordan Owens. Carter Casey and Ben Bushnell also going to be all together. 9 laps to go. And they'll be side by side, but as is your leaders again. And you can't even take a look slightly to those who are just behind before you acknowledge the fact that the 37 of Burrell has kept Jordan Kuntz honest consistently. 8 laps to go, time ticking down, and it looks like Matthew Weeks now going to have a say. He'll go down a little bit lower. David Tucker up top trying to take a spot away from Alec Daffin. And here we have it. Daffin up top, barely going to block David Tucker, and still side by side for a full lap. Burrell and Kuntz stay exactly as is. 8 laps to go, and now the number 37 of Burrell is going to find himself wiggled and lost again. This will give Matthew Weeks the perfect opportunity to come up for second, and we'll see whether or not it works out. Alec Daffin has a choice right now. Go up there with Matthew Weeks and keep that train hot, or do what he just did. Go down to the inside and look for third on his own. It now looks like Daffin's going to go every driver for himself and look to the bottom side rather than really helping out with Matthew Weeks here. 2 by 2, shades of the Season 5 finale, and this is our very first race. Already, the intensity is ramped up, and we'll come with 6 laps to go, and it will be just another of the many drivers that completed tonight, but only 12 miles remain when we get there. 12 miles, and it will be 6 laps to go. We just got there. It's time to move on again. Leading on the high side, Jordan Kuntz has remained top side driver. Bottom side, it looks like diving deeper. It's been Ethan Burrell and Matthew Weeks, respectively, doing their thing down low and doing a great job at that. Number 11 here of Weeks decides to block Alec Daffin again. This will give David Tucker the chance to go down to the inside and make a pass now on Alec Daffin. Hasn't yet been able to get through, but Tucker now looking at that as red hot as they come. David Tucker, he hasn't been competitive for the majority of this race. He's been up there in the top 10, but the top 5, well, it looks like not quite. And now going to be a little bit of a slam. Nothing too intense, but door banging. And the number 48 of Daffin going to have to wiggle up with Jordan Kuntz and Ethan Burrell up in front, 13/100ths of a second. 5 laps to go. The gap remains as narrow as it gets. David Tucker now getting in the mix here, and you can see while he has not been here all night long, he's showing exactly why he's there. Neck and neck with Alec Daffin, and it's going to be now Daffin slowly but surely running up on the high side with a slightly better run of momentum. Right on board here briefly for David Tucker, and you'll see what he has in store as he aims to get by Daffin and move instead into the podium places. Right now, Tucker has not been making gains to the leading drivers, but instead has actually fallen 0.2 of a second behind. It looks like, indeed, Jordan Kuntz is pulling away from the field a little bit better because he stays rather close to a guy like Alec Daffin, or even someone just ahead like Matthew Weeks. Telemetry will show you he's remained consistent, but perhaps not enough to really give all too much a fight to the drivers ahead of him. Matthew Weeks now going to be coming across the line in third. Ethan Burrell going to be in second, but it's now looking like Jordan Kuntz Kuntz all of a sudden has gone into an extra gear and has a very minor leg up on all those he's contending against. It's going to be now the 99 of Kuntz leading the way with 3 laps to go. Next time by going to be the signal for 2 remaining. And now Matthew Weeks deciding to make it by Ethan Burrell. His charge will be on for the runner-up spot. Let's see now what Matthew can do with it as the 37 lies just 0.2 of a second ahead of him. Most drivers now going to be spreading out again, and it looks like Jordan Kuntz outlasting the rest. And if things stay the way they are, this is another classic example of how Jordan Kuntz will simply race the drivers around him and be that much better. He's been oh so consistent in being a fantastic long-run driver, and now that we see with 2 laps to go, his tire-saving prowess coming into form, Ethan Burrell is going to have to reach into another gear and go to overdrive for any chance to beat the number 99. But in all honesty, it looks like he might just have that in store. Burrell looking rather quick down the back straightaway, the gap down only 14/100ths of a second, and Jordan Kuntz all of a sudden might have to look in the rearview mirror just a little bit more. It might not be too much just yet, but with 2 laps to go this time by, we come down to the big number, 1 lap to go. Last lap this time by, and the final lap will come through here in Fontana with Kuntz just barely ahead as we come across the stripe. White flags out here in Fontana, and it's going to be now Ethan Burrell going right up top with Jordan Kuntz. Kuntz deciding to take the 37's line in full, while Matthew Weeks is going to be looking for second here. Weeks is going to come down into the back straightaway just behind Burrell here, but it's no use. 2 drivers going for the race win. Burrell is going to go up to the high side after reaching from the bottom, and now Jordan Kuntz just has to mirror drive for 2 more turns. He was a 2-time champion going into last season, and in the most heartbreaking way possible, could not find his third. Is the drive for a hat trick still in session? Just might be. Jordan Kuntz with the race win in Fontana. Victory lane is back in Kuntz's favor. He wins his 2nd consecutive opening race. David Tooker drifts across the line, and Kuntz comes out on top. Ethan Burrell, the rookie of the race by far, comes through in 2nd, and Matthew Weeks gets it done in 3rd. David Tooker going to be 4th, and Vinny Tigner 5th, getting just ahead of Alec Daffin when all is said and done. What a race here from Fontana. And a fantastic performance from Jordan Kuntz. Race results as they come through. Kuntz going to win from Ethan Burrell in 2nd, Matthew Weeks dead in there in 3rd, and David Tooker going to be in 4th. Vinny Tigner 5th with Alec Daffin in 6th, and Jordan Owens is going to be 7th with Jackson Van Pelt 8th, Benjamin Bushnell 9th, and Henry Kaloff then in there 10th place. Going to be 11th in Michael Deitch and Carter Casey, a dead heat for the spot. He's going to be 12th. 13th is James Bowden. Curtis Sabarin is going to be in the 14th spot, and Connor Asbell is in 15th. Gino Maero falls down to 16th with Matthew Fastnot in 17th and Dana Van Meter 18th. Jamie McKinney, 23 seconds back, is 19th with Dylan Wheeler concluding the top 20 positions. Then from there you see Kenneth Grell and Scott Erickson 2 and 5 laps down respectively, with only 2 retirees, Joshua Personette and Sky McGurk, the rest of the field getting to the checkered flag when all is said and done. Jordan Kuntz, the most familiar face of all in victory lane, he has done it once again. And it looks like for Jordan, he's chosen, rather than going for a eccentric burnout, to stay exactly where he is, and he's going to be parked there on the start-finish line tonight, and that's his victory celebration of choice. And he owns the finish line here in this series, and of ever since late 2022, no other driver has had a chance to come to victory lane more times than Jordan Kuntz has, and it's rather fitting that he puts it there right exactly where he's been week in, week out for several seasons. He comes by the checkered flag, he goes by the start-finish line, and what a way to get it done. Overall tonight, Jordan Kuntz, perhaps his most impressive metric, comes through with 50 of 81 laps led. Definitely felt a little bit closer than the numbers you're seeing right there, but Jordan still had massive control over the drivers tonight. Pole position, 50 laps led, converted to a race win. Jordan Kuntz has found a way to win once more. And it's about time we get a word now from the number 99. 50 laps led on the day, and the checkered flag back in hand. It's your second straight season-opening victory. Jordan, here in Auto Club, it was close and contentious all night long. You had great competition around you, veterans and rookies alike, but a very similar spot we see you in, victory lane, to open up the season. How does it feel once again coming out on top?
It definitely feels great to start off the season this way compared to how last season ended. Definitely had a fun time with all the rookies who were really talented, I can tell by their iRating, and some veterans, and Matthew Weeks, the champion, to compete up at the front the whole race. It was really fun. And yeah, I definitely think from last season, I definitely learned, since it was my first loss to the championship, I experienced how it was to fail, and I definitely think I used that experience to come back stronger. Took some valuable experience from that race, put it into this one, and it just fell into place with the cautions.
Strategy working out great. 2 pit stops on the day tonight, and we know how well it works out for you when it comes down to tire conservation or having a leg up on using worn out tire. Tonight, 6 drivers seem to be on the level of fighting for the win, and I know you know quite a lot of them. Of course, you mentioned championship not yours last season. Matthew Weeks barely coming through with it, and you still had to compete against all your former championship rivals today. What was it like settling in with overall largely green flag racing, only 2 breaks in between?
I think it was a lot of experience from previous races. Of course, we raced here pretty late on in the season last season, so definitely a similar feel to that race. No fuel saving this race, of course, but definitely had a lot of experience from there. And of course, you have to learn how the new people drive, how aggressive they're going to be, and how aggressive maybe some people like Matthew and Alec are going to be with how their seasons ended. So just a lot of learning, getting the new feel of the season going, and I definitely feel like I learned a lot. We'll take a lot from this take a lot of experience from this race, and go on to next week to where I can hopefully repeat the result.
And looking for repetition, of course, another victory is the ideal goal. Now, tonight, Auto Club, we did not kick off the season as we traditionally do at Daytona, and it led to a different style of, shall we say, talent-based racing. One thing we gotta, of course, keep in mind, a lot of rookies coming in this season, and a lot of which ran at the front of the field. How are you feeling about the new talent pool of drivers we're seeing and have definitely raced around you all night?
I definitely like it. Hopefully they continue and stay throughout the whole season. It was really fun racing with them. Of course, the battle in the last 15 laps, which seemed to never end, was really fun with Ethan. Raced really clean, and that's all I can ask for, and hopefully we continue it throughout the season.
And just like that, Jordan Kuntz back to those winning ways. The number 99 crew finds the checkered flag. What a way to get it done here. You have any final shout-outs you'd like to give? The floor is yours.
First of all, I would like to shout out Premier Concrete Solutions and Tony Wilson for giving me this opportunity, great opportunity to put his company on the car and to show it off to everyone on FTN. I'm very happy that I could get the win for him in the first race, that it's broadcasted, so it's always amazing. And I'd like to shout out all of the family and everyone who was watching this race. Always amazing to see all the people watching, and hopefully they had really fun watching it. And of course, I'd like to thank you for always putting on these broadcasts. They are always amazing. I was actually watching some of it during the cautions and before the race, and it was really good.
There we have it. Jordan Kuntz coming out on top tonight in our season opener in California. We thank you for your time, Jordan.
Thank you.
And great to see Kuntz back at the front of the field. 2 of our past champions on the podium tonight. One driver, a big outlier, but he showed up in a big way. First start in this series for you, Ethan, and you showed from the jump you were here driving like a veteran and giving these drivers quite a difficult time working around you. Racing them as hard as it got, but very clean, and it's clearly a display of talent that could go on for the rest of the season. What a way to open up your SNT career. Second place. What was it like out there?
Yeah, thanks, David. It was fun. I kind of started off just smooth and steady on the long runs, and we had a couple cautions fall, and I got closer and closer to the front, got around Alec, and then man, it was just elbows up racing there with Jordan. That was a blast. He had an advantage on me. He had the high side figured out a little better than I did, and I think that was kind of the difference there. But yeah, man, it was a great race. I had a lot of fun.
And it seemed to be a fantastic race for you and all those you were around. A good group of 5 or 6 drivers getting away, and in large part it was because of the strategy, but cautions kind of kept you drivers controlled. So I'd have to ask you, coming in here, it's most likely not your first time with the Xfinity cars, I can't imagine, but your first time around these drivers. What was the trick to your success with having that race pace tonight, even though you came in with a few unknowns?
Yeah, it's just trying to figure out each driver. I mean, racing with people enough, you kind of figure out people's tendencies, and I didn't really have that knowledge, so just kind of being patient, giving a little extra room, and just really patiently and methodically setting up passes, and after a few laps of trying to battle with Jordan, kind of figured out, all right, this guy's the real deal, so we could start getting after it. And yeah, I just being patient, I guess, was the key, and I had a lot of fun going back and forth with Jordan. So hopefully I'll get to battle him more, man. That was good, clean racing.
And it was some great racing in the podium tonight. 2 champions and 1 brand new driver. You, of course, being the driver in the middle who is the outlier, but that might change. If you're looking for a full season championship run, how are you feeling about our next races up on the schedule? Tonight, of course, going here to Fontana, California, a familiar track on our usual circuit. We've got Old Atlanta coming up next, which was our season finale last season. How do you feel about heading back down to Georgia?
Oh, that'd be awesome, man. I love racing the Old Atlanta surface. It's a driver's track, man. We're gonna be slip sliding around, so that'll be a fun one, man. Hopefully I'll show up with some speed.
And there we have it. Ethan Burrell, second place on the day. If you have any last shout outs or final messages until our next race, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, shout out you for putting on the show, Vinny and Carter for letting me join in here, and big shout out Matthew Weeks. He was the guy that got me in to this league, so be running a lot with Weeks, and I know that's a good guy to be racing with in your corner since he just won the championship last season. But yeah, that's about it. Shout out to Jordan for the good battle there.
All things considered, a great battle between you and Jordan Kuntz for the race victory. Of course, not getting the win tonight, but surely promising for things to come. Ethan Burrell, we thank you once again for your time.
Thank you.
Now with Ethan on the move, Matthew Weeks once again finds the podium today, and a very well accredited driver, and for the first time in his career coming into a race as the defending champion. Tonight, 3rd place at a track we figured you'd have a lot of speed at, maybe just a notch off of the race victory when all things are said and done. A solid race nevertheless. How does it feel after coming through on the podium to kick off this season?
It feels good. You always want to start the season off strong to carry that momentum from last season. So I think finishing up there in 3rd is a good start to the season, where last season I think I had a rough start to it at Daytona. So this is a lot better.
And surely a much better way to kick it off. Of course, this track, not prone to having those big incidents like Daytona where everything's up in the air. I'm sure it was up to you. If it was your preference, in the schedule anyway, you might have taken a track like this over Daytona to kick it all off. What was it like out there, of course, getting back to normal here with all the drivers you're so used to around at a track where you're usually strong at?
It felt good. I showed up probably 20 minutes into practice. I was a little behind on running laps. It was good. It was hard to pass tonight, being at night. I wish it was a day race so we could actually slide the car around a little more, but all in all, I mean, it was good. It was good battles. My buddy Ethan up there battling hard, and Tucker, brought these guys along, and all of us up front running up there. And Jordan, man, he's a challenge everywhere. So it's cool to see him get a win to start the season. I know he'll be a challenge for the championship all year long. So we just need a win. I felt like we could have won there. I got bumped into the corner and kind of heated up my rear tire, and it was cooked after that. And so I just fought to stay in 3rd.
And it looks like staying in the fight and holding on for the podium today. Of course, getting that momentum to kick off the season. We're going back to the site of your championship victory next week. Another track that relies heavily on the tire saving in Legacy Atlanta. How'd you feel about tires tonight? And of course, I'm sure that will impact you for next week. So is there anything you took away from tonight that you can move on with?
Not from this track to Atlanta. It's like two totally different things. I mean, the wear is kind of similar, but I think you burn the tires more at Atlanta. So, and I'm just one of those guys with, I think, how I drive my car. I tend to be a lot easier on the tires. I'm better on the long run. So I'm looking forward to it. That's one of my favorite tracks to race. So hopefully we do better than last season and we can get a win there. Because I know River and I forget who ran second. I think it was Chase. I know them two boys were really fast last season there. So I'm hoping I can at least get to that speed and be that quick next week.
And looking to keep the speed and maybe go out for a first race victory as the defending champ, Matthew Weeks, podium today. If you have any final shout-outs, we'd love to hear it.
Shout out to you all the time, man. You do this by yourself a lot, and you do a hell of a job doing it. So shout out to you. Everyone that watched, that was a good race. Shout out to my buddy Ethan Tucker, Josh Personet, and Jordan, who all joined us tonight. And SMRI, it's the old scheme I ran. I decided to run it tonight. It's Jordan's thing, so I wanted to rep a friend of mine's little company thing, so I did that for him. So shout out to SMRI and everyone that's part of that, and everyone that runs the league, man. This is one of my favorite leagues, just to come kick back, chill on a Saturday night, and just have a good time racing in long green flag runs. So shout out to Carter, Vinny, and yeah, man, that was good. That was good hard racing. Shout out to everyone that raced tonight.
And great racing to kick this season off. Matthew Weeks, you come through, round out the podium here in Fontana. We thank you once again for your time.
All right, man. Thank you. You have a good one.
And with Matthew Weeks on the way, top three drivers, very familiar faces. Matthew Weeks coming home in third. Ethan Burrell going to be there in second. And the winning man, when all is said and done, number 99 of Jordan Kuntz, the champion. Of course, 2 times back-to-back before Matthew Weeks knocked him off the throne. I think we're going to see a great championship fight between some of the veterans who have returned and maybe some rookies in between. And this is just the prelude of what's to come in this upcoming season, one that could be of legend. We thank you all for tuning in tonight. SNT competition has only just begun. Up next, we'll be heading on to the Legacy Atlanta Motor Speedway, where we ended our championship in May. We return again to finish off August and move in to the autumn months here in the championship race. Things have only just begun in SNT, and we hope you stick with us all throughout as this season gets back on the roll. I've been your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. And if you enjoyed tonight's content, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. 2 broadcasts tomorrow night, going to be McCullough Money Racing and the Schumacher Racing League, both iRacing presentations late at night on Sundays here on FTN. If you enjoyed, make sure to keep up to date with all of our FTN social medias and the SNT social media platform to find out when the next race is and when it will be broadcasted. You've just watched an exclusive presentation of Saturday Night Thunder, only broadcasted live on FTN from the virtual Auto Club Speedway. We thank you all for watching the San Bernadino 160, and we hope you have a fantastic night.